What is up? It's Dakota Layden here from Destination Fear, and you are listening to the Paranormal Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, fellow zoners and paranormal ponderers. You are in the Paranormal Zone, your weekly dose of all things, you guessed it, paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the trudging through life on a daily basis, yet refuses to complain on air about the severe pain he is in, Mike Carbno. Good to see you, Mike.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I won't complain on air, do I?
No, you don't.
You said I don't.
No,
you
no,
said
no,
I
no.
don't. Yeah.
I said you don't. I said,
I thought I probably did.
You
Oh,
have.
well.
You have, but hey, we do not blame you one iota because
It's a roller coaster.
Yep, this back crap is just that. It's a bunch of BS, man. Ugh.
And since the last, I don't know, few episodes, I have since lost my job.
Yeah, that's right.
I am unemployed, on disability.
Woohoo!
Yeah, they had to let me go. They terminated my existence with them.
Man, that sounds awful the way you put it. They terminated my existence.
Yeah, I think the way they put it was we have to terminate your employment.
Oh, well.
Because we just need to fill that position. But, hey, I'm 60 years old. I'm in bad health. So they're going to replace me with some young person that probably will make almost half of what they were paying me. So they'll be very happy.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Predator?
Yeah. Hey, I've got a lot of Predator stuff in my collection.
If it didn't result in death, too bad you couldn't have the Predator rip out your spine like it does to his victims.
And put a new one in.
Unfortunately, they were already dead, so we don't want that to happen to you, Mike. But
yeah,
I'm just picturing you laid out.
Yeah, and my spine and skull is hanging from a tree.
It just shoves his hand into your back. And there goes Mike's spine and head. Yeah.
And see, it would be from this tree, actually.
Yes, it is. There it is. Mike is not lying.
See?
He is showing
There's skulls on the tree.
He is showing me his little Predator. What brand is that? Who manufactured that?
It is a well, it's a 20th Century Studios.
Can't find the maker on the back. That's okay. That doesn't matter. I was just curious.
Quantum Mechanics Inc.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, it's a neat little see the little Predator up there and all that.
Yep. I don't see a headless Mike dangling from the branch. That's the rare item of that sort. That's worth more money.
I bought that when I had money.
That is very true. Very true. But it is good to see you, Mike. It is Friday. It is now 4:29 in the afternoon. We hey, it wouldn't be a Paranormal Zone episode if we didn't have at least one issue, and we already have. We were good to go a little bit ago, but then of course my computer decided to say I don't want to work, and
now that's out of the way and working again.
So here we are.
Oh, and I had a problem getting my camera going when I first got online. We both had a little bit of an issue.
And I'm still going through my horseshit headphones issue right now. So It's
which could be fixed very easily.
I know. So my left ear is being filled with a constant. So it's great, but hey, I'm forging forth.
Like a constant cicada bug in your ear.
Oh God! Ooh, no, thank you. That's pretty much what it sounded like, though. Wow,
great, isn't that horrible?
Great way to describe that. Ugh. But yeah, again, good to see you, Mike. Thanks for making this work. It is time for a new episode. It is time for that weekly dose of all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious. We were going to choose a topic. We were going to choose a specific topic, a specific haunting to cover, like a lesser known case we want to dive into. There's a ton of possibilities out there, but we couldn't find any that we wanted to focus on for this episode. Granted, it was kind of short notice. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of throw in everything but the kitchen sink for this episode. As far as just talking all things hauntings, theoretical takes on such things, all the different types of hauntings,
different types. Yes.
Yeah, our opinions, our takes. It's going to be cool throwing our own personal experiences and see how they would be labeled or defined.
Oh, sure.
And before you know it, we'll be done. So
before you know it, folks, don't worry. Before you know it, we will be done.
Hang in there. It's not going to be that long. The pain will be over soon. No,
you might be able to make it your way through it without having to go to the bathroom or getting up for a snack.
That's usually your issue, but
yes, I don't know if I will be. I mean, along with all my other package of ailments, I was lucky enough to have when you got to pee now thing. So the prostate, I think, is aging badly along with the rest of me. So if you see my hand go up like this and wave, Patrick, I gotta go.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I know the not too subtle signs of Mike.
Usually it's the bouncing.
Exactly. It's the jittery motion, moving back and forth. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Anyway,
not too subtle.
Anyway, what I'm saying, folks, is don't get old. Don't get older than me. I'm only 60 for crying out loud.
Okay,
it's not bad.
You just told people to die before they turn 60.
Young before you get aged and old and decrepit.
Okay, first off, don't listen to Mike with that right there, because that's
don't listen to me about that, because life is still worth living and it's awesome. I am actually very happy every day. I am.
He is, believe it or not.
Yeah, mentality wise, I am good. Yeah.
Well, like I said, this is going to be a mishmash of all paranormal talk, talking about all things hauntings. It's going to be pretty good. I was thinking about calling it Hauntings 101, but then I remembered I called the Patreon episode something very similar.
You did.
I can't pull it right now which one it was, but I'll think of something. I'll throw in some a bunch of paranormal hyperbole to catch the listeners, I guess, ear. And they'll say, "Hey, what the hell are these guys going to talk about? I better check it out." And within
Patrick
5 minutes, they turn it off.
Patrick has used the word hyperbole his one time a year that he uses that.
I only use it once.
So he's got that out of the way.
Okay.
Hyperbole.
I guess I didn't realize I only used it once.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, it's a big word for you. So
earlier today,
sparingly.
Today, I was thinking about, go figure, thinking about the paranormal, and again, we don't want to overkill this topic, but it is super important to us. Of course, we're talking about what we focused on last week, the It's Debbie EVP, because I was thinking, Mike, of all the stuff that we've experienced, either together or separately, particularly you've been experiencing stuff since you were a kid, for crying out loud, and I've always been, did I experience something? I'm not sure. I need that irrefutable evidence. I need something.
If you're not sure, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
And I even brought it up to myself then. I said, well, what about the It's Debbie EVP? That thing you cannot debunk. And we've said that 1,000 times, and I wholeheartedly believe that. There's no way that we can debunk it. Something was picked up. It's a voice from the ether, wherever the hell it was. And
we have looked over that many times, listened to it. How many times? We can't even count how many times we've listened to it and thought about it and tried to figure it out, try to debunk it, try to think of, well, it could have been this, could have been one of us. we always come up totally empty.
Absolutely empty. Yep. There's no way we can't toss it out. Cannot at all.
And then now adding these other two voices, these two little events to it.
Yeah.
It's all just one great, wonderful package of EVPs.
Yeah. Yeah. And I brought that up because I believe in that 120%. It was something, but then there's that something in my head is just like, well, why doesn't it impact me? Why don't I have that moment of like, of like, holy shit, that is the paranormal, and and that's proof. And I came to a conclusion, like, all it is because I didn't hear it. No one heard it when it happened. And I remember you called me up the next day and you were excited as heck. You were talking.
Yeah.
I have got, we captured this thing. I think you said you were in your tub when you were listening to it.
I was. And, and it takes a lot for me to get that excited.
And just to be clear
about paranormal stuff.
Hopefully there was water in the tub. I'm assuming there was water in the tub.
Well, it was actually marbles.
Oh, marbles. Ooh.
Marbles.
Ouch.
If you roll around in the right way, but don't have any under you, you got to have them on each side.
Lord. Yeah. No. Yeah, I can just picture that. For those who don't know, that's how Mike meditates. He lays in a dry tub face down.
In marbles. With 3 candles lit.
Yes, it's a very relaxing setting. So
yeah,
but getting back to
a large loofah.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, getting back to yes.
Oh God damn it, that's an awful vision. Awful vision in my head right now. So getting back to my point here was that's the only thing that I can think of as to why it hasn't just hit me and impacted me and struck me like that is absolute proof is because I wasn't there. I didn't hear it. And it's on a recorder that, you discovered. It wasn't, I'm not saying this out of like, oh, I'm jealous. I wish I discovered it. That's not the case at all. But I wish that would have been something that we both could have experienced, at the same time when, both be listening to it on
hearing
playback.
it for the first time together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of silly on my part, but I'm getting better.
Well, no.
I'm getting better. Am I kind of just saying?
Oh, absolutely, you're getting
just
better.
Say I am.
Okay. You see these TV shows that they just have this bang in your face stuff happening, and we just can't expect that.
I know.
We got to take what we can get, and boy, we got that. It's Debbie EVP, and
that's awesome. I mean, it's
going to be with us for the rest of our lives. I mean, whether it's physically that we can hear it or just in our psyche. I mean, in our, how it's affected us.
And I also brought this up too because I have 2 quick points relating to the Debbie story. Is I wanted to correct myself from last week. Well, and both of us, because apparently we were both mathematically impotent last week.
Oh, I'm mathematically impotent every day since kindergarten.
Because Debbie was born in December of 1970, and she died in October of 1973. The paper had her listed as 3 years old. I'm assuming they just rounded up because she was actually 2 months short of her 3rd birthday. And last week, we kept saying she was 3 years old and 2 months short of her 4th birthday.
Right, exactly. So she was,
So she was even, younger than we thought. So
yeah, just so young and innocent.
Oh God!
I mean, we didn't know her. She could have been a little brat, but I don't see it. I don't feel it.
No, I don't feel that at all either, man.
No, I don't.
If she's hanging around and in whatever form, and she heard Mike say that right now, she's laughing. She's laughing at Mike.
When we were talking about that, I got this very distinctive vision in my mind of her with a big smile and laugh. I mean,
yeah.
So
I wanted to clarify that. So she was even younger, and then I also wanted to bring up. I had a interesting. I'll share an interesting snippet of a dream last night, and I'll throw it out there, Mike. See if you think anything of it. And
yes,
without naming names here, but as we mentioned, there was a then young boy who's still in the Park Rapids area here who saw that tragic event, and he's still, the last time I spoke to him, 12, 15 years ago, whatever it was, he was still very, very shook by it. And you don't blame him at all. Absolutely do not blame him.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't spoken to him forever. I haven't seen him forever, but I know he's still around. But guess who appeared in my dream last night was this gentleman.
Oh.
That's just kind of odd that I dreamt of him. Well, he was in my dream, and I remember coming up to him and introducing myself, and he didn't say anything, but he couldn't pull my name. He didn't know who I was, but he thought he recognized me. And he stuck out his hand, shook my hand, and he had kind of a leery smile, kind of, but he's like, I know your face, I know you, but I can't pull it. And that's basically essentially the gist of it. But that's just really odd that he popped into my mind during my my sleeping hours last night. I don't know. I don't know if that's some sort of, I don't want to say message or someone reaching out.
That's what we need to try and figure out. I mean, was it Debbie reaching out with this information for you, or, what was it? Just the way you described the whole meeting, with him being that leery, but shaking hands.
Yeah.
It's like, and
leery might be a wrong word, but just kind of like, I can
kind of wonderment,
Yeah. Like I know you,
curiosity.
But I cannot remember who you are, but I know you. And that's basically,
right.
So.
Well, have you been thinking lately or at any time in the recent past about that you wanted to talk to him again? Or I can't see you going there because I don't know if you'd want to put you or him in that position.
No, but like last week during the podcast, I think we mentioned briefly, how it would be utterly fascinating. It would be selfishly fascinating for us to talk to Debbie's parents. I remember we talked about that.
We did. Yeah.
But that's such a delicate situation.
Yeah, it would be tough. I just don't know if I could.
Yeah, that's something we might.
Yeah,
I think I would. I think we'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
But hey, never say never. So that's the only thing that I can think of. Nothing about this gentleman's. So I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting though.
Yeah, take it as you will. Oh, by the way, I got some more. I got more really interesting tidbits from your niece, and man, I can't wait to talk to her. Holy cow!
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. It's gonna be good.
Do you remember what you were going to say, Mike? Because I cut you off. I'm sorry. You're going to say something.
When I was probably trying to cut you off, I don't know.
Maybe. That's what we do here on the podcast.
No, I totally lost it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Well, moving on, should we dive into the quote unquote meat of the episode here, Mike? You got that article, that site, that website
I do.
Link
it's
that I
right
sent
in front of me.
I think it's pretty interesting. This gives us some good talking points, I believe. And, hey, straight to the point, the article's title is Types of Hauntings. And, we have very smart listeners out there.
Absolutely. In the know.
In the know. This stuff isn't, going to be revealing anything new, I don't believe, but it's always interesting to talk about it and throw our opinions back and forth, and hey, let's just see where the hell it goes, right?
Yeah, it's like information that we have talked about before, but I mean, it goes into some pretty good depth about certain types of hauntings, and it'll probably bring up some things that we could talk about that we haven't really thought about before. So this will be good.
Well, I'll just run down the list first before we dive into them. Types of hauntings they have, obviously, residual haunting, poltergeist haunting, demonic activity, haunting, I guess. Intelligent. Mike can't help himself there.
Throw that in.
Intelligent/interactive activity, shadow people or shadow creatures activity, and finally portal hauntings. I mean, all sorts of stuff that we've talked about quite a bit about a lot of these, if not all of them.
Right.
But it's always good to.
And that is from haunteddoc.com.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, absolutely. As generally speaking, as everyone out there knows, residual and intelligent, intelligent hauntings, the difference between those two is you can interact with an intelligent. A residual, you cannot, interact.
Yeah, just like a cassette tape playing over and over again.
Yeah.
Or a video, not.
Yeah. And some of the personal experiences that you've had in particular, I'd say most of them have been intelligent hauntings. I don't know if you've had too many, residual stuff. Well, maybe like the old man who was seen in your house. Maybe would that count as a residual?
That could be. I mean, there was never any communication that was tried. As far as I know, that girl that I saw when I was just a young kid, that first real ghost that I saw.
There you go.
I didn't try to communicate with her. Was she a residual? Would she have reacted if I would have said anything? It's just hard to say.
Some of those examples that my niece Chloe talked about a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's fantastic, by the way.
Very good episode.
Thank you again, Chloe, for appearing on there and sharing your stories. We got a lot of positive feedback for that one. I think she had a mixture of both as well, kind of leaning more towards intelligent hauntings for sure.
Yeah.
Let's just start off. Let's talk about residual. I'll go down here. Shocking. We'll read stuff here. Residual haunting activity can occur when something traumatic or stressful occurs, such as a murder or a rape. They use that as an example. Negative energy is literally blasted into the atmosphere, causing the atmosphere to imprint or record the events. Like you said, Mike, like a recording tape. It will play the events over and over again. Now, the stuff like you hear stories about like handprints appearing on the area, of a wall where like a atrocity was committed, or any sort of like you can actually see this physical imprint on a supposedly haunted locale. I think that definitely falls under a residual just because of the power of the energy that was, it actually physically manifests itself in the form of this print. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, I can see that point. Or is it not a residual because, it's not like you're really interacting, but it would have to be more of a physicality instead of a recording that would actually leave. See, I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm going back and forth as I'm thinking, but something visually seen could be a residual, just like a noise that you hear, or somebody, like Abe Lincoln putting his boots on at the side of the bed. That would be a residual. This is just showing up in a different manner as a print.
Yeah.
That you can physically see. Does that make it still a residual, or is it too physical to be residual? You're actually seeing that, like that, the little girl or the little children's handprint on that mirror.
Yeah.
Is it residual if you can look at it and run your finger through it and actually smudge it? I mean, that's pretty physical. That's pretty real. I don't know if that would be a residual.
That's a great example right there. I'm kind of leaning towards our personal experience there with those handprints appearing out of nowhere. I'd say that's more of an intelligent sign.
Almost like communication, almost.
Right.
If that's what they were trying to do.
Right. I think last week we also talked about, even if, let's say that they weren't trying to communicate with us, whoever it may have been, but they were in fact just they may have been unaware of their current form of existence, and they're just going about their quote unquote life as they normally would, and was playing with that mirror,
Yeah. And a little kid that age, if there's, and the mirror, like, it was not on the wall. It was leaning against the floor, against the wall on the floor.
Yes.
So a little girl could have reached and done that. But we had mentioned before that there wasn't kids in the house at that time. Anytime.
No, absolutely not.
So we know that it had to have been Debbie.
Or again, we've also talked about the possibility of, and we'll get to the portal hauntings as we go along here. We talked about the possibility of there being a portal or more in that house of yours. And I think you brought it up. Like, was Debbie or whomever it may have been entering in and out
of a portal,
that portal via the mirror?
Yeah, leaving a physical mark on the part of the portal that was still physical, which was the mirror.
And you mentioned like the Abe Lincoln sightings of people. Several people have claimed to have seen like Abe Lincoln
over the many decades.
Yeah, sitting on the edge of his bed, putting on his boots, and that's not Abe Lincoln's soul.
No, it's not.
That's just this physical imprint. I mean, it's beyond understanding for me, like the physics of it. I don't get it. I don't know how it could possibly be true, but I believe it.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to some of these, how they continue to describe residual hauntings here. These entities involved in residual haunting / activity are unaware of their surroundings. We've mentioned that several times before. This is not an intelligent haunting. There is no interaction between you and the entity. Now, residual haunting activity can also be caused by positive energy blasted into the atmosphere. And I love this example. Many times you have heard of ghost stories where people can hear the sounds of a party. They hear music, singing, dancing, laughter, and when they enter the room where they hear this party, well, guess what? There's no one there. Residual haunting activity can be the specters of living beings. I love the idea of such joy, such happiness that that leaves a physical imprint of sorts.
That happy joy energy is so big that it leaves an imprint, just like the tragic, traumatic. Yeah, and why not? I mean, it's all, whether it's good or bad, it's all energy that will never cease to exist. Mm-hmm. So something that powerful to manifest and be able to hear it, as whether it's a residual or an actual specter. I mean, they're both just absolutely fantastic things to witness.
And you wonder if you wonder how many occurrences such as this are mistaken for like intelligent hauntings.
Sure.
Like if someone claims that they hear voices, but they can't decipher exactly what's being said, and maybe they hear it during the same time of the day or in the same room, and they think someone's trying to communicate with them, but maybe perhaps they're just hearing this residual imprint from whatever occurred, however many years ago and stuff. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, we're always going to be mistaking these things because shocking. This isn't a perfect science here. This crazy thing called the paranormal, so that's another thing that
not
adds,
professionals.
Oh, no. But that's another thing that adds to the fascination of it, is because it is such a process. I would like to think everyone is learning more and more every day. The research into the paranormal is revealing more and more. Again, if you're open-minded to it, Lord knows a hell of a lot of people aren't. But hey, you know what? That's their problem, right, Mike? Oh, Mike's coughing. He's convulsing.
Absolutely. Okay. I with this residual energy and this recording type thing, have you ever heard this story? I had seen it on some kind of a documentary a long time ago. They had jars that were made out of clay that were ancient. That I don't know, going back to Egypt or something like that. But anyway, when these jars and this pottery was made, there's ridges going around in circles that were, naturally put in there with the making of these jars and things. Well, I'm sure I'm not going to get this totally right. It's been so many years, but the gist of it is that if there was a type of a listening device or a needle, like a phonograph, something was hooked up, and they did do this, and they ran it along these grooves along this jar that was made, so many centuries ago, and they were actually getting like sounds that were made into this the outer edge of this pottery in these grooves, and that's the energy that was put into that when they were made. And over the years, and the energy that was directed, that it's like these jars picked up more energy, and you could actually get sounds if a device was put up to it and with a speaker.
That's pretty cool.
I wish I could remember what show that was, and it was so long ago, but
that's really neat.
It was pretty interesting, like going alongside of that residual, picking up some object, picking up a residual.
Yeah.
So that could be like if that was true, it really happened, that could be closer to a scientific, outlook towards residual energy.
Gosh, is there any way you could figure out where you saw that? Any way at all?
I'll try and think. I'll do some research. Hopefully, I can come up with it.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. It's mind blowing in a way.
It is. I mean, yeah.
Well, this article from Haunted Doc. Their next example is the good old poltergeists and their wacky, crazy activity.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, that's kind of literally how they're defined. What is
That's
it?
right.
Like the prankster ghost, the playful ghost. Any number of ways. Now,
Noisy spirits.
yeah, noisy spirits. Have you ever seen poltergeist activity, Mike? Have you ever personally seen it? Refresh my memory and our listeners. I don't know if I've ever heard you say that you have.
Yeah,
Then again, I'm losing my memory, it seems. You could have told me that yesterday, and I would say, I don't think you ever told me.
That's something I'm going to have to think about.
Okay. Now, I get a, and I always have got a vibe from you, Mike, when it comes to poltergeist activity, that it's something that you don't necessarily, now correct me if I'm wrong, it's something that you don't necessarily dare I say, find it as fascinating as other aspects of the paranormal? Is there something about supposed poltergeist activity that kind of, it hits you in a kind of a meh way? Or is it still utterly
Not
intriguing to you?
Not really. It's intriguing. I mean, it's
I say that
it's a
because
whole-
there's so many theories out there.
Yeah.
And it's almost to the point of being repetitive that poltergeist activity is merely brought about by the human mind, essentially.
Well, no. See that part, if I was to go just that route,
Yeah.
where it's all puberty and
Usually a female child going through puberty.
yeah, a lot of hormones, whatever. I mean, going on. That's possible. That could add to that energy that brings it about, but I don't think it creates it. I don't feel like it's it just doesn't seem so as tangible to me, which might sound weird, but
I think
but
we've
it does.
talked
But
about
I
it.
think
I'm sorry, Mike. I think when we've talked about poltergeist activity before, I think we've said they as in, let's say a human involved in this activity is, suspected as being the cause of this, the root cause of it. And the other part of the they is the actual entity. I think we've come to the conclusion that they kind of play off of each other.
right, they play off each other. I mean, the energy I think that's coming from some child going through puberty will definitely add to that the strength of that energy that's creating things. They feed out, like you said, it's fed off of each other.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Which is interesting to think about.
it is.
It almost kind of lends the possibility of poltergeist activity, kind of including a little bit of intelligent interaction going on.
Oh, I believe so. Yeah. It would have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I
For something physical that is physical in a house, like say a picture on the wall, and if a ghost or poltergeist or whatever is going to make that like turn upside down or make it fly off the wall, there's got to be that physical, that it can't be just residual.
Didn't you say
Very
that your
intelligent.
brother thought that he had some sort of weird activity with a photo on his wall?
Yeah, it would pop off the wall. Yeah. It's been a while since I've asked him if there's been any recent activity.
By the way, did you ever ask him if they wanted another print from me?
Steve, I know you're listening. Would you like another print?
There you go. Thank you.
Yes, I have asked.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, just let me know.
I have asked just now. I didn't send him a text or anything. Sorry.
I know. I got you.
Okay, you got it. Yeah.
All right, going on here. Poltergeist is from a German word meaning noisy spirits. We all knew that. Reports of poltergeist date back to ancient Roman times. The activity that takes place will start off And this is just example. Not always. It's not always this. They say the activity will often start off with knocks and bangs. Furniture may start to move around all by itself, yada, 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 etc. Then the activity will become more intense, possibly manifesting itself through voices and even the appearance of full apparitions. Again, furniture may slide across the room. Beds may shake. Any number of examples. Just think of any sort of physicality, with material objects, basically, flying about on their own inexplicably. Many shows are based on this type of haunting because it tends to be the most terrifying and rarest type of haunting that occurs. Now, that's one thing I wanted to mention real briefly as well, is I'm fascinated by the Enfield poltergeist story. It blows me away. It's if it's true, it's creepy as hell. But again, so many people have worked so hard to debunk this, and they swear up and down that it was a hoax, basically. And I think it's got a reputation as being a hoax. And so when the lay person who may be interested in the paranormal, when they maybe hear, and I'm not speaking for everybody, obviously, when they maybe hear talk about poltergeist, they kind of like, just because of well-known examples such as the Enfield has such a reputation as being not real, so therefore they kind of set aside all other potential poltergeist activity.
Right.
Which I get it. It's, it's unfortunate, but it happens. Now, most of the time in the case of a poltergeist, the haunting circles around a female in her teen years. We already talked about that a little bit. Some of these cases seem to be caused by the female unknowingly controlling the energy around herself. Some cases happen around people that are stable in the right mind space. Kind of the right state of mind. This haunting is hard to classify due to certain situations. No two are ever really the same. Most of the time, you will find that one person in the house seems to be more affected by the haunting than anyone else. It may even seem that most of the activity doesn't happen unless that certain person is present. So, is this person, Mike, in your mind, like a lightning rod for this activity for whatever reason?
Right. Well, maybe it has something to do with the puberty and the hormones and everything, but it's not being caused by the person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's making that person being targeted by a poltergeist.
Okay,
and
I see that.
And if that person is in the room being targeted, people are going to see it. That person leaves the room, that target's not in the room, they aren't going to see it. That person goes into another room, person's targeted, other people in that room see something, they think, well, what is she doing? What's going on?
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I like that. And you also see, particularly in Hollywood or whatever, when they portray these stories of poltergeist activity, there's usually a person who's a staunch disbeliever. It's usually like the dad. Right. The dad is like, oh, nothing's going on here, and he's the last one to and I'm generalizing, of course.
But at the same time, during the whole movie, he's the one that's slowly becoming possessed.
Well, right. Well, and the way that it's portrayed commonly, not all the time, is kind of like that. So I wanted to talk about the potential reality of someone who is such a staunch disbeliever. Does that disbelief, could it, in your mind, Mike, have an effect on the activity itself? Could it either lessen the activity or could it raise the activity? Because to me, I feel like almost, especially if there's an intelligent force behind this, someone who is there who's being utterly negative about the potential reality of this, doesn't believe in it, this intelligent energy is going to basically add some truth to what this man already believes. This activity is going to cease because he doesn't want, I said he, because it doesn't want this man to actually open his mind to the potential of the paranormal. Am I making any sense to you at all right now? It's like, does a disbeliever lessen the activity? Is basically what I'm asking.
Does a lessen the activity? No.
Yes.
Because let me tell you a story, and I may have told this years ago on the air. But
it's story time. Yay.
It is story time. It's a long lost Carbonell family story.
I'd love to hear it. Yep. Well, he's got to convulse first. Clear his throat. Yep. Oh, he fell over. He's getting up slowly. Okay, he's back.
Okay. Anyway, my uncle and my grandmother, my my English grandmother that was, moved to Canada when she was a young girl, my dad's mother, where this paranormal activity goes rampant in that side of the family. But anyway, they were sitting in my grandmother's living room, and this was many years ago. And my grandmother, she used to love doing the Ouija board type thing. And but she didn't have a Ouija board, as she would use like a small cordial drink glass. They're like 4 inches tall. They're very small glass. And she would put her fingertips on one side of the glass. And at this particular time, my cousin had her fingers on the other side, like you're doing like a planchette for a Ouija board.
Sure.
But you're not going over letters and spelling out words. It's like it interacts with you through this glass. So my grandmother and my cousin were doing this, and my uncle that was sitting on the couch here said, "Oh, that's a bunch of baloney. That's not real. It's fake." This glass led them over to my uncle and hit him on the head.
Okay.
After he made that comment.
What?
Now, this is all coming from my grandmother, my straight English proper grandmother that uses the word tinkle for peeing and puff for fart. Okay. So, and she isn't gonna, feed you a bunch of crap.
I'm never going to look at Cocoa Puffs the same ever again.
Yeah. But anyway.
Okay. So let me pause you for a second. Let me pause you. I put Mike on pause. So you're saying this? I'll clear this up for me. This glass, like it levitated and it hit your uncle in the head?
No, my grandmother was on one side of the glass, just barely holding on to the rim of the glass. And my cousin was on the other side, holding on to the other side of the rim of the glass.
Oh, they were holding it up in the air already.
Yeah, like with their finger tips.
I understand now. Gotcha. Okay. And so it let them. And I'm just playing devil's advocate. They didn't just play a prank on him. They didn't bring it over there and drop it on his head and stuff. They were actually following some sort of force. And this, like I said, this came to me right from my grandmother. They would follow it and it would lead them. And that's almost like grandmother sounds like dowsing rods, kind of a little bit.
Yeah, sure,
a little bit.
Same principle, maybe.
Yeah,
but when they were further getting into doing this that day, my grandmother was talking about her first husband who had passed away. My grandfather passed away when he was in his 40s, and he was much younger. But anyway, and I had never met him, but my grandmother was talking about him. And she was wondering if it was him, from what I remember. And it led them into the bedroom, and there were clothes or whatever that were her second husband's in the room. And the cup or this glass led them to that, and it messed up his clothes. Like it would, making them push his clothes away, like, not very friendly way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I think my grandmother was thinking it was her first husband that was doing that. And to further on the story of Ouija boards with my grandmother, she was visiting us at our home one summer. This is many years ago too. And we had a Ouija board, and my sister and I were doing this Ouija board in the dining room. My grandmother was in the living room with the rest of the family. And we, whether it was real or not, or whether it was, just my sister and I like doing whatever, it was like my grandfather was there, her first husband. So my sister went to her and said, Grandpa is on the Ouija board and he wants to talk to you. And she, didn't skip a beat of not believing anything. She said, I can't talk to him right now. Fred, her second husband, was there with her. And she said, out of respect for him, I can't go talk to.
Oh, interesting.
To her first husband on the Ouija board.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
So it was a pretty interesting.
That's
evening,
the type of statement that comes from pure belief and and faith.
Oh yeah. Well, she's seen it for so many years, and
yeah,
and it was interesting.
You know,
Something I'll never forget.
that is so fascinating, and it reminds me of something that I did earlier today. Just a total lame example of, I am a believer. I am a believer, and stuff like this that happened earlier today is adds weight to that for me personally. But of course, Mike, it revolves around demonic and all that, because I can't shake that Catholic upbringing. I just can't.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways, I did this.
There are probably plenty of non-Catholics that believe in it too.
Well, I gotcha. Well, anyways, I was placing a purchase order. It's today at work. I was, ordering a bunch of supplies through our vendors, our suppliers, all that stuff. Yada 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 yada. And every time you place these purchase orders, a purchase order number will pop up. And that's a really long number. It's I think it's like 15 numbers or something like that. And the last 3 numbers of this particular purchase order was 666.
Really?
And so what did I do?
Only three numbers this time?
No. It was
okay.
I said the last 3 were 666. And so what did Patrick do? I canceled the order and started it over, and so the last 3 numbers were then 667, and woo! I dodged the bullets, and it was all good.
So your day was all right then.
It was all right. It's so dumb. When I check out at Walmart, and if my perfect change comes back at like $6.66, I will cancel the order and buy something else, so I don't get that amount of change back. It is ridiculous. Pumping gas that ends on 667. Nope. I got to put more gas in. It's dumb. I know it is. But.
I remember one year, it was probably in the 70s, my mom got her license plates in the mail, and they were, North Dakota is 3 letters and 3 numbers. Either 3 numbers or 3 letters, whatever. But anyway.
I thought you just saw a ghost or something, the way you were looking right there.
Yeah, I was trying to think. It came in the mail. She opens up, and the 3 numbers are 666.
Yeah.
And she sent them back, and she would not accept them.
See?
And they did give her a new set.
It's not just me.
No, definitely not just you.
I'm not just some weird, wacky weirdo.
Yeah. With me, if I pumped gas and it came out as $6 or $60.66,
yeah,
I'd still just pay for it.
Well, I guess.
How come your camera keeps going out of focus?
It does. I've noticed that a little bit. I'm not sure. Wait, hey, don't.
Twice I saw that.
Don't jinx anything, because I know. Like I said, my soundboard isn't working. We already had a computer crash. We don't want to test fate here, so don't tease my camera. Yeah. You leave my camera alone, mister.
I don't think it's me. I don't know.
No, I see it on my end too. It's just me.
Yeah, and I think it's some spectral being, some deceased relative, possibly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that something is behind this. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're behind,
since your dad won't communicate with me, he's trying to communicate with you.
Let's put it to the test.
Computer.
Let's put it to the test. All right, let's put it to the test. All right, if something is there causing my camera to go fuzzy, do it again. Nope. Okay, I'm good.
Oh, it did it.
It did not.
It did it. It did.
I wasn't looking.
Just not as bad as the other one. It's like it shifted.
What?
Not like it just went fuzzy. It's like it shifted and you went fuzzy for like 2 seconds, and then it was clear again.
And that was
odd.
I was looking down. I didn't see jack crap.
Well, I saw it.
Whatever.
And I am not kidding this time.
I know. I can tell when you're truthful because of the look on your face.
You're learning my poker face pretty good.
Absolutely.
I got to change that because you're getting too good at it.
Now, as we said, getting back to poltergeist activity.
Yeah, we're just all over the place.
Well, it's good though. It's good conversation. Some cases, as we said, happen around people that are stable and in the right frame of mind. This haunting is hard to classify due to certain situations. No two are ever really the same, as we mentioned. Again, most of the time you will find that one person in the house seems to be more affected by the haunting than anyone else. It may seem that most of the activity doesn't even happen unless that certain person is in the present. We already read that. I apologize for reading it again. Usually, the activity appears to stop when that person leaves the home. The majority of the time, poltergeists are experienced by several people. But again, they seem to center around one certain person. This person may be highly stressed as of late, or maybe this person has gone through some type of extreme emotional trauma. If this was or is the case, see that the individual involved gets something. Now it gives you advice, and we're not giving advice right now, but yeah, you could, check on their well-being, obviously. Now, when there's a case of poltergeist activity that does not involve a teenager that is manifesting itself, the teenager is not manifesting itself. The activity is manifesting itself. There are usually several spirits in the area. Now, these are just theories here. This is a particular ghost investigation group who's given us all this info here. The spirits, to them, appear to pool their energy together in order to become strong enough to move larger objects and make more noises. Now, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I've never thought of that before.
A team of ghosts working together. That's fascinating.
That shows some intelligence.
Oh, man. Have we ever even thought about that, Mike?
I have never thought of that. That's something it sounds very interesting.
I'm picturing like a bunch of spectral beings in football uniforms working together as a team. They got their helmets and their jock straps on, and it's all good. That is a really fascinating idea. What's happening, Mike? Mike like fell over or screaming at the dog or something's happening.
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you sure? I don't know. I'm looking. I've seen the back of Mike's head more in the last 30 seconds than I've seen. There he is.
I had my phone, and and Mary's son is trying to get a hold of her on it, so I was trying to get it to her.
Let's talk about that for just briefly, Mike.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Ghosts working together. Have any of you listeners heard of a story such as this? I don't know why I'm blown away by this, but I quite literally think I've never even thought about this possibility.
I never have. I mean, there's interaction between ghosts in haunted houses, because when you think of like an innocent child that is or any being, any spirit that's in a house that is being controlled by another spirit and held there, against its will, that happens, things like that.
And that's
that's interaction. There's some strong interaction there. So why can't there be
teamwork,
strong interaction with each other to be able to do more? All of them together working towards moving something. They're all getting something out of it. They're all doing what they wanted to do, just couldn't do it by themselves. So they pool together
that's really
their
interesting.
energy. That's fascinating.
Well, Mike, even again, going back to our experiences, the It's Debbie EVP, I mean, that's interaction right there. Is it not? I mean, it's because according to that EVP, that source of energy was not responsible for opening up the door. It was telling you it was another source of energy /
exactly
Debbie that's doing it. Ooh, I like that. That's pretty interesting.
So, and how do they react within their group? How do they act within themselves? Do they communicate?
They would have to? They would have to communicate somehow.
They would have to. I mean, just picture that. Just picture Debbie, looking up, the spirit of Debbie looking up at this adult spirit that is, talking to her, and it's just a bizarre thing. It's like a whole new ecosystem in your house that living alongside you.
Or,
basically,
we don't know, Mike. Debbie could have been looking down. We keep thinking of them as their physical self. We don't know what they're like in this other existence.
Exactly. Right.
They could all be equal. That's another thing that your niece briefly mentioned. And I'll save the story for her, but she talked about, the example that she provided about some of the activities she experienced. She believes it was like an aged spirit. It was a spirit that was older in the afterlife than what it was when it passed on. If like it was passed away.
We've talked about things like that.
Passed away at a very young age and then comes back and interacts with you seemingly much older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
Well, exactly. That's like when I've talked, older or younger. It's like when my dad,
yeah,
his parents had,
exactly.
it appeared to him as a much younger, healthy couple before he passed away.
Again, Mike, I keep thinking of infinite amount of dimensions, man.
Well, there's so much that we don't know and that we can't even theorize yet.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, as long as spirituality or the spiritual movement going, starting back when, like Victorian era or whatever, and the paranormal that we deal with today. I mean, boy, I just totally lost my train of thought.
That's fine.
And it was good too. It was good
great.
too.
Well, it was so good your brain couldn't hold it anymore. So.
I know it's like, maybe, okay. What I was going to say is maybe we're, relatively speaking, still in the infancy of the paranormal.
Oh, I think so.
Because there is so much that we don't know, and what happens when we aren't interacting or they aren't interacting with us. Where are they? What do they do?
Yeah.
There's theories, there's thoughts, there's people that say that they know and they give their explanations, but what really is it?
Oh, Mike, we're babies. We're trapped in this physical existence. I mean, we're just I don't want to say we're low forms of life, because that's not true at all, but it's like compared to what possibly is out there.
But as far as development and
I wish I could think of better ways of expressing it. I think you understand.
I know it's hard. It's hard for people that aren't so intelligent, and I apologize for that, because I can't come up with a shit.
And so, of course, we become podcast hosts. But hey, that's fine.
And then you can just kind of,
I did just see my camera go out of focus a little bit again, but I think it's because I moved backwards, or I think I'm there. It went again right there.
There. Okay. And it had to refocus on you.
Yeah, I think it's
like
just
doing
refocusing
right now. Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It's still there. Yeah, there. It just caught up with you. I've never seen it do that before.
So, moving forward, damn, we're coming up on an hour already. Demonic activity. Mike, just say how you feel about demonic activity. And when it comes to the paranormal.
I'm still, it's still an open book for me. I kind of cringe at it because it's like, whatever. But, the reason I think I do that is because it's so religion based as well.
Well, that's how this article kind of starts off too.
Yeah.
It goes on to say that demons are entities that never had a mortal human form. Origins, extraterrestrial. Why, they ask? If you believe that God and his angels are from the heavens, that would make them extraterrestrial. See, I don't agree with that. But it's an interesting take. And if Satan and 1/3 of the angels rebelled against God's kingdom, then Satan and 1/3 of the angels that became demons are also extraterrestrials. And that is why they never had mortal human form.
There's such a movement of people, I think. And I don't know if it's based on what they believe in their faith or their religion or whatever. I don't want to blame everything on that, but there's a lot of people that really believe that aliens are nothing but demons.
Right.
It's like there isn't such a thing as ghosts, but boy, I tell you, those things that are supposed to be aliens, they're demons.
Well, and vice versa.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, we've heard stories about that where people think that all demonic entities are alien in nature.
Right.
I find it difficult to combine those two personally, but that's just
yeah. Well, reading books on ufology and things like that, and abductees, there are people that say when they've been abducted and brought onto a ship, they actually see, and this is something that really happens, that they actually see deceased loved ones on that ship.
Ooh.
That has been reported.
What the hell is going on there?
Yeah, it's something to kind of dig into and get more info on. It'd be an interesting little subject to talk about sometime.
Now, they go on to list some examples of demons and demons as pure energy entities. They say that Einstein said that, they said that Einstein said, no, Einstein said that E equals MC squared. Energy can be converted into matter and matter into energy. Demons are pure energy. As examples, they list as angelic, that being of a beauty that will manipulate the person, as horrific / evil looking. Some people claim they have seen demons They're incredibly hideous to look at. That could be simply for frightening purposes, the scare effect.
Yeah, control and
Absolutely control.
feeding off of that fear that they raise up.
Also described as black mist, black fog, black shadows.
See, those aren't all demons either.
Right. No, I get that. And the idea of shadow people is, I love talking about those.
It's like a class all its own.
It is. I don't find them as demonic. I mean, I know we've talked about that as a possibility, but I don't feel that they are. I know you don't. I think shadow people are the ones that oftentimes are, as you said, Mike, like linked to aliens for whatever reason.
That could be. Yeah.
Again, black shadow, black smoke. In most demonic hauntings, the occupants claim to be followed by said black mist or black fog. Didn't you say, Mike? I apologize for asking you this all the time. I always forget this. Did you not think you saw like some sort of mist in your house back in the day? Okay, I'm correct.
Yeah. Well, in the dining room there. Yeah.
But you didn't get it as any sort of evil vibe or anything.
No,
like
absolutely not. I think, is that the one that Mary and I both saw? And we didn't know that we both saw it until we talked later about it. And I brought it up.
I think so.
And then, because I was in the kitchen and I saw it, and Mary was out in the living room sitting, and perfect clear view between her and I, and we didn't know that we had both seen it until we talked about it later. Yeah, that was very interesting. It's like she validated what I had seen, and I validated it for her,
which is always great when when you're able to
absolutely.
Do that. They go on to talk about as demonic entities as being very strong, unlike human spirits, and that they do not mind showing their strength. There have been cases where people have been thrown through the air or even attacked. So I know we've talked about ghost attacks, Mike.
Well, just like at the Sally house.
So
original story.
If you are attacked, quote unquote, attacked, assaulted, physically harmed in any way by an invisible entity, is it all?
Which actually happens.
Yeah.
Which we don't even want to go there, but it does happen.
Is that all demonic? Does that immediately fall under the demonic labeling, the demonic definition? I know it doesn't in your mind, but there has to be.
Of course, to me it doesn't. Yeah. Well, if you think of just the pure human evil that people can have that isn't even demonic.
Yeah.
Like talk about your Ted Bundy or whatever, and we all know a lot from that, from what we've researched. But we
talked with Mr. Chris Jericho about such thing, about
that
a demon energy manipulating Ted Bundy throughout his life. That's what we talked to him about.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
Well, of course it was, because we were on it.
So, it was a lot of fun.
So, So what are you saying, Mike? So are you saying that you spent an hour lying to Chris Jericho? Is that what you were saying? Because you didn't believe in what you were talking about with me?
Oh, I believed what I was talking about.
Okay.
I even disagreed with him on that one subject, and I wasn't afraid to do that because there was so much distance between Chris Jericho and I.
He could not physically harm Mike.
Yeah, he was on his bus somewhere in the country. Yeah, but anyway.
I mean, again, and Lord knows, I hold a lot of weight to the possibility of demonic hauntings. I can't help it. I really believe in that as a possibility. I do not automatically label all quote unquote ghost attacks as being under demonic influence. You just can't. Right. Mike, as you said, and as we've said, chances are, if ghosts are the spirits of someone who's moved on, if you're an asshole in real life, well, guess what? You're going to be an asshole in the afterlife.
What if there's, people these women that get, or men or whoever that get raped by a demonic entity, maybe that could have been a serial rapist when he was alive.
Hey, right.
And he's carrying all this over into, and being able to be more evil about it because he's in a totally different, I don't give a crap attitude because I'm dead. And I can do what I want. And they become even worse than what they were in life.
And that's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
I mean, thinking about if you were able to somehow, even if you are even if you're an awful person, the idea of being able to gain power in the afterlife, becoming even more evil.
Well, you're released from your physical bindings, if you want to put it that way.
No, that is something you have to be just created as pure evil, and you happen to inhabit a human body.
Yeah, you've just lived that life, and and before that life, who knows what you might have been even then.
God dang, I don't like thinking
but
about that.
All theories.
Now, this is kind of interesting. I'm skipping through a bunch of stuff here because we need to wrap it up here. Unfortunately, not at this exact moment, but we'll get there. They wrap it up by talking about intelligent and interactive activity. Mike, we've talked about this several times. As beings made up of matter, we are all energy. We are energy beings on the quantum. Pure on the quantum level. We are made up of atoms and neutrons. As matter/energy beings, we have intelligence. While we live, we have an energy aura that surrounds our living bodies. This aura is created by the millions of electrical currents that are created through our bodies. Our brain creates brain waves, a form of pure energy that is transmitting our thoughts, what we see, what we feel, etc. Now, when our mortal form dies, the aura that constantly surrounds our body leaves our body. I've never heard this before. They claim we lose 6 ounces on the instant of death. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard that, and there was experiments done decades ago on that, I think, yeah.
I'm ignorant to that. That's pretty cool.
Yep. At the very moment of death, there is a...
Damn.
If it's true or not, I don't know, but it was reported that there is a difference or a change in weight.
Wow. Now they go on to ask if this is true. What is this 6 ounces? They suggest that maybe it's the energy leaving our body. Is it the soul? This energy, the aura, or you may even call it the soul, as I said, is carrying the information of what we used to be. If it can do this, then why couldn't it also carry our intelligence? So, Mike's eating fake poop. Hey, is that a sign that you're bored, or what the hell's going on there?
No.
Mike pulls out the fake poop. That's a first. That's a first. I've never seen you eat fake poop.
I've got a really nice, very high quality piece of fake poop that sits on my keyboard while I record an episode.
And that's how Mike truly feels about working with me as a podcast co-host. You're no longer the co-host with the ghosts. You're the co-host with the plastic poop. So that's great.
Well, poop is my favorite funny word.
They go on to talk about some reasons that ghosts may be tied to the site or people. And we've talked about that several times. And they finish up with shadow people or shadow creatures, and also the portal hauntings, which we mentioned earlier and talked about. I know we talked about that in detail quite a bit several times. So, Mike, it's time to wrap it up. But again, I love these podcasts. There's a reason that we're described as off the cuff, because this is about as off the cuff as you can get.
Well, we enjoy it. What matters is if the listeners enjoy that off the cuff.
Yeah, I gotcha.
mean, I feel like it's been a while since we've actually sat down and had like a couple of days or a couple hours even of real deep research. I mean, we've been doing a lot of stuff that we've really had getting opinions, and
we've had some pretty important episodes. Last week was important to us because we focused a lot on the Debbie experience, the Debbie's story, the EVPs, and focused on ghost children. And the prior episode was obviously Chloe sharing her fascinating and sometimes terrifying ghost stories. And we talked about the 2 episodes prior to that, Bigfoot encounters. Mr. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, and then Ron Moorhead and all that. And it's been a while since we've sat down and, kind of, okay, let's focus on this creepy ass haunting. Let's do a deep dive and let's do it. So, maybe it's time. Maybe we're due.
Yeah, I think we are.
Mike's looking
know
at me
that-
blankly for some reason. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Are you missing your plastic poop or what's going on? Or do you have to take Mike has to take a real poop.
I was doing my best to follow along with what you were saying.
I know.
You kept blurring out on me. I mean, not your screen, but physically, it was just like, God, Patrick, have we been on here for like 2 hours now or what?
I swear to God, I get that look more often than not.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sitting there. And you wonder why I feel insecure.
See, there are times though when you are discussing something like that or explaining something, and then my mind all of a sudden flips back to what we were just talking about, and I'm getting all this stuff. It's like, I don't want it to leave my mind, and I miss a few things that you say. And during that time is that total dead look. I mean, my eyes are just probably like in a dead zone.
There's no life in your face.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. All I can picture is Mike staring blankly. And what I hear in his head is that,
No.
the Charlie Brown teacher voice, it's like,
I am
that's what
not
Mike,
trying to shut you out. I promise.
Mike hears when he stares at me, rambling on nonsensically forever.
Yeah. Patrick is you cannot shut him out because he's got that way about him where it's like the tiny little drill bit, very tiny, but very long, starts it in like the side of your head and just goes right into your brain. So I apologize for, that dead look once in a while.
What are you saying? I'm the equivalent of a lobotomy? Is that what you're calling me?
And when I do, I'm saying it as a funny.
Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious.
People know how great we are together here.
Ooh, wow. Now we're getting arrogant, Mike. Come on, let's go.
I go from one extreme to the other.
Well, Mike.
But anyway, this has been a fantastic episode.
I think it's actually turned out really great. A great conversation. Yeah. No spillage of Diet Coke this time, so that's always a good sign. No more, knock on wood, technical difficulties. Nothing shut down on me. But hey, we still have a couple minutes, so maybe it will before then, and we'll lose everything.
No, we're good. We're good.
Should I just keep talking until I do encounter something like that? And
you want to see that deadpan look again?
What, Mike? What type of look comes on my face when I talk about these situations that occur? Describe that, will you?
Pure excitement. You just get all happy and you get a little flushed, a little ruddy in the cheeks.
A little ruddy. Yeah.
You start losing beard here. I can see it falling out. So.
Oh, hey,
it's pretty exciting.
Before we wrap it up, I want to give a shout out to some listeners. Adam and Pandora, thank you so much. You guys let me know that you got those prints. That was awesome that they made it there. I'm going to send them in better packaging because looking at the picture, it looks like they're getting little creases in them from UPS, and I'm kind of disappointed in that. But they're well, Pandora told me that she's very happy with it and says that you won't even notice them when they're framed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to frame it? Wow, that's awesome.
Well, I framed mine that I bought from you years ago.
I know, that's awesome.
I never got nothing else.
If you guys want to sign up for Patreon content, it's awesome. We are going to record a Patreon exclusive episode again and start doing that more regularly. We took a break for a few months, and I'm rip-roaring ready to go. We got awesome content on Patreon. Go check out the video, audio content. We got ghostly stuff there. I'm not joking. EVP's video stuff is pretty darn cool. You can sign up for as little as a month. If you sign up for $5, stick around for a couple months, you get to choose which art print you want from me. And I think it's humbling.
Yes.
It's humbling when someone actually wants something like that. It's like, damn, cool. I want to give a shout out to Adam, Pandora, Scarlett, thank you so much. You're such an awesome supporter, a new listener to the podcast, and she absolutely loves it. Angela Don, thank you so much for the support. Patrick, I know you're still out there listening. Well, I think you are. Jesse Jules, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I know I'm forgetting people, and I apologize, but we know all of you, and we appreciate all of you. Interact. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
I'm getting the blank look from Mike again, so it's time to wrap it up.
I was intently listening to you.
Okay, sure.
I was enjoying listening to the listeners' names.
Why did that make me laugh so much? I enjoy hearing the listeners' names.
I can only be so upbeat and funny when I am in so much pain.
I hear you. I'm sorry. No, okay, Mike,
I'm doing good.
Mike, go fill up your tub with marbles and lay face down in them again,
and talcum powder.
Jesus.
That's even more fun. That's a funner thing.
And that giant loofah. So, well, I don't have my soundboard, so you'll have to deal with until we meet again.
Peace out, everybody.